Zk Rollups. So together with you, we will discuss the current Ethereum ecosystem and also Zk Rollups and the metrics that they currently have. Please send something in the chat. Do you hear me well? Hopefully, and we will start in 20 seconds. Also, if you would like to support Ukraine, support our country, feel free to donate to the charity organization called United 24. This is a company that is supported by Ukrainian president and do a lot of good things to support people in needs right now. I will add a QR code right now. There. Probably you see it. Okay, I will share my screen right now and we will go through the presentation together. Hopefully you see me. I do not see any messages. Yes, Sheila, thank you for confirming. Hello, everyone. By the way, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat if you would like to offer some services or introduce your product. Feel free to do that. So the agenda for today, we will start with a blockchain trilemma. We also will do a brief introduction to Ethereum ecosystem. Also, we will discuss different types of scaling solutions for Ethereum, and we will deep dive into Zk Rollups. So frankly, other scaling solutions we will just briefly introduce to you, but we wouldn't deep dive into them today. We will focus on our main topic, Zk Rollups. Probably you know the blockchain trilemma. There are like three main problems that every blockchain tries to solve: scalability, security, and decentralization. So scalability, it's more about the transactions that the blockchain can proceed per second. So maybe you heard about TPS, transaction per second. So every blockchain has this specific metric that is really important. Also, we need to understand that if the blockchain is too expensive, it's also not scalable for some specific niches. For instance, one of my analysts just yesterday wrote that the fee on Ethereum went up to $96 yesterday. So probably it's not the best blockchain for gaming or for DeFi because people will spend a lot of money just to do one action in this network. So the main problem for Ethereum is scalability, and we will deep dive into it later on. Also, there is a problem with security. So the amount of resources that is required to corrupt the network consensus. In speaking about Ethereum, we understand that the blockchain is decentralized and secured because it has a number of validators in the network, and currently it's one of the most secure blockchain in our ecosystem. Also, the decentralization is a huge problem in the market, and currently Ethereum is the best the best decentralized blockchain, and definitely we can see some improvements with other updates that will come into force soon in the end of this year and next year. But speaking about now, we will also see some metrics later on. It's one of the most secure blockchain in our ecosystem. I see some comments. Hi, Kellen. Hi, Rakesh. Hi, Brian. Zero knowledge. Yes, yes, we will go to it later on in our presentation, and definitely we will define this term. I enjoyed reading the introduction of the Ethereum in the official website, and as it was written, it's a community-run technology powering by the cryptocurrency Ether and thousands of decentralized applications. So currently, Ethereum has almost 22 million of Ether that are staked and that are providing this security to the network because Ethereum moved to proof of stake in September, almost a year ago in 2022, with a major update called Paris, or people call it the merge. Also, the amount of transactions successfully surpassed almost 1 million. So sometimes we have more than 1 million transactions in the network just in the 24 hours. The TVL on Ethereum, based on the official website of Ethereum, is 55 billion. But frankly, if we'll deep dive into different tools that are providing the data, like Dune Analytics, for instance, or DeFi Llama, we will find different numbers. So usually the numbers are from 2 billion. I saw it in Dune Analytics, speaking about TVL, or up to 35 billion. But I think that Ethereum developers have checked the information properly, and right now the TVL is approximately $55 billion. Also, as I mentioned, the network is decentralized by more than 12,000 nodes that are running globally. Also, I took these numbers from the website just to understand the size of this ecosystem. More than 4,000 projects are already built on Ethereum. Of course, not all of them are famous and successful, but still it's a huge network of builders, investors, and users. There are almost 100 million wallets with Ethereum balance, more than 53 million smart contracts on Ethereum, more than 400 billion value secured on Ethereum, and approximately 3.5 billion earnings of creators in the during the bull year 2022. The number of transactions, as I mentioned, per day is around 1 million. But as any blockchain, as any product, it has a few particular problems, and the main one are fees and transactions per second. So right now we can see that the price for transaction was around $36. I took this information, I think 3 days ago. So probably right now it's lower or higher, and definitely you can check this information using different tools. By the way, please write in the chat what tools do you use. It can be valuable for other community members. Feel free to share your knowledge and experience in the chat. And the second major problem is TPS. If you know the current TPS of Ethereum, feel free to write it in the chat. So actually there are 3 numbers that are calculated every day, and you can find these numbers in Dune Analytics. But in general, the lower number, so it's around 10 usually. So 10 transactions are completed per second. An average or medium TPS is around 12, and maximum TPS usually is up to 17 right now. So as I mentioned, I took this data 3 days ago, so probably changed, but also you can use Dune Analytics to find this information. Those 2 reasons are main problems in Ethereum network. That's why we need scaling solutions. They enable faster and more cost-effective transactions that can be proceeded off-chain. And they are actually aggregating these transaction data into a bundle. So they are grouping transactions and then sending them for approval. There are few types of scaling solution or layer 2 networks, as Ethereum is layer 1. Layer 2 networks are trying to solve these scaling problems. So the main one are payment channels, plasma chains, Validium, and rollups. You can find more information about them in the internet, and we will also come back to these topics and some problems of these layer 2 solutions later on. So feel free to do a screenshot and to research this information on your own. If you know some other types of layer 2 networks, please feel free to write this in our chat, and I would read all your comments and would love to know more about this. So as you know, today's topic will be an amazing technology called zero knowledge proof that was created in 2012, and one of the first cryptocurrencies that was launched using this technology is called Zcash. Please write if you heard about this crypto in the past. It was really famous in 2015, maybe 2017. Right now, we do not use a lot this private cryptocurrencies. So just to simply explain zero knowledge proof, this technology allows one party to prove to another that the statement is true without revealing any further information. So we will deep dive into two main approaches. Actually, the first one is optimistic rollup approach, and this means that your transactions, all of the transactions, are valid by default unless proven otherwise. By the way, feel free to write a few examples of optimistic rollups that are already launched and successful. Meanwhile, I will check your comments and questions. Yes, Kellen, I see that you wrote the correct answer regarding TPS. Thank you. BSV, thanks, Richard. Yes, you're right. Feel free to write any questions if you have them. We will come back to them later. And Zk Rollups has an opposite solution from optimistic rollups. So the transactions are valid by default if proven to be so. So as we can see, this is very easy to remember that optimistic rollups, they assume that transactions are valid by default unless proven otherwise, and zero knowledge proofs, they assume that all transactions are valid by default if proven to be so. And in both cases, transactions are executed off-chain, but in Zk rollups, they are executed by a network of nodes. In optimistic rollups, they're executed by a sequencer. There are two promising projects, blockchains that are already launched, but they will need a lot of updates to achieve their goals. Zk Sync, that is EVM compatible, allows people to interact with Ethereum virtual machine, and also it has the potential TPS up to 2,000 transactions. So it's almost 2,000 more, almost 100 more than Ethereum has. So it's amazing number. In StarkNet, we have a promising 9,000 TPS, which is probably not realistic as for now, because we know that StarkNet recently had a major update that allowed it to have around 12 TPS, but still it's good, and technology is very, very early right now. And of course, we will discuss it in details in the next slides. So let's speak about the security. The Zk Sync, it uses Zk snarks, so it's easy to remember. Zk Sync, Zk snarks for cryptographic proofs, and StarkNet uses Starks for cryptographic proofs. Both networks they have low transaction fees. Probably the transaction fees will be reduced significantly with the updates. So currently Zk Sync has around 50 cents fees per every transaction, and StarkNet sometimes has even lower fees. But I believe that many updates will come soon into force, and we will see better fees and better speed. Also, it's important to understand that StarkNet has created a language called Cairo that will be used by developers to build applications on StarkNet. And Zk Sync, it's EVM-compatible smart contracts platform, and it will use the language called Solidity and a few other languages that are used for Ethereum. Also, we can discuss snarks and starks, but I will briefly go through your questions in the chat. Hi, Dalia. Yes, happy also to present some content to you. Feel free to write your questions, introduce your products if you would like to do so. So what we know about snarks. Speaking about their trust assumptions, snarks have trusted setup, but starks, they do not have a trusted setup. And snarks are less scalable due to larger proof sizes, and starks are more scalable due to smaller proof sizes. The proof generation requires significant computation resources for snarks, and starks require limited interoperability with other zero-knowledge proof systems. Also, succinctness in starks is more concise proofs, and in starks it's less concise proofs. So definitely I would like to put more attention here that snarks are using for Zk Sync and starks are using for StarkNet, so it's very easy to remember. Moving forward, both blockchains went to mainnet. I'm not sure, but I assume it was done this year. I don't remember the correct dates, but we already see that StarkNet has a lot of breachers, so people who deposited or wallets who deposited their Ether or other cryptocurrencies using the breach to Zk Sync era. So actually, Zk Sync has two. Let's say there's two networks, two periods. The first one is Zk Sync Lite, which was the first period, and the second one is Zk Sync era. So we can see almost 2 million breachers and a huge amount of breach deposits, more than 1 million total deposits. What we can see about the development that we have almost 100,000 depositors during the past 7 days. And we can see a great dynamic of the startups, speaking about daily TVP and bridgers starting from April 2023. So probably the ZK Sync era was launched in April, but definitely we need to check, or maybe in March, so we can see this in the graph. What we can say about Starknet, that we have a lower amount of breachers, around 600,000. We can see that TVP is also lower, almost 10 times lower, 147,000, 100,000. And we can see that Starknet breach per last 7 days was 25,000. Also, we compared those two blockchains during the past months, and we can see that more people who are testing these blockchains or using them to stake Ether or other crypto, they are moving from ZK Sync to Starknet. And the amount of stakers in Starknet is growing right now, but in ZK Sync it's an opposite situation. We don't know the exact launch dates, but we assume that both blockchains will be launched next year. So speaking about launch, I mean a token launch. They will have a TGE, token generation event, next year, probably. You can scan our QR code to find other social medias and follow us. Meanwhile, I will come back to the chat and have a look on the questions that you have. I see that Risk Zero is a zero-knowledge verifiable general computing platform based on ZK Starks and their Risk V architecture on GitHub. Interesting. I didn't hear about this blockchain, but my team will definitely check this. Thank you, Richard. Feel free to add some comments or questions right now. We still have 4 minutes to discuss anything you want regarding Zk Rollups or maybe other technologies. You also can find my email here. You can use it to propose anything to 3x Capital, any potential partnerships or cooperations. Feel free to email me. Yes, we do not see any additional questions. Oh, I see one from Kellen R. Starks and Snarks referring to smart contracts used on each network. I think yes, both of them provides different types of benefits. And if we will come back to the slide that we had, that Snarks, they require computation resources, more computation resources, but Starks, they are offering limited interoperability with other zero-knowledge proof systems. Of course, what is important is privacy. So Snarks are more private, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, it refers to smart contract platforms, smart contracts that are used on each platform for cryptographic proofs. Any other questions? Okay, if we don't have any questions right now, thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure to deliver some content to you. We will also publish this presentation on LinkedIn, so you will have this content in place, and feel free to reach out and ask more questions. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye bye.